This is Radio Prague International coming to you from the Czech capital.
Hello and welcome. I'm Sierra Krieger-Wolf and you're listening to Czechia in 30 Minutes, the show where we give you a rundown of what's recently been happening in the country in just half an hour. Coming up on today's show, Czech farmers turn to growing sunflowers and even figs and olives amidst drought and intense heat. And the secret Soviet bunker built to survive a nuclear blast opens its doors to visitors in Czechia. A 1940s coal plant comes alive as a street art festival transforms the unusual Olomouc landmark. After that, we'll take a look inside Prague's Summer School of Czech. All that coming up in a bit, but first, here's Romana Grajcerova with today's top headlines.
News.
Justice Minister Jeroným Tejc has confirmed that the United States has asked the Czech Republic to extradite 4 detained Mexican nationals who are being prosecuted in connection with drug and terrorism-related crimes. According to the minister, 2 of them agreed to be extradited and their extradition took place last week. The other 2 remain in custody in the Czech Republic, while a prosecutor is now reviewing the U.S. extradition request and supporting documents. The minister added that the extradition process usually takes several months. A Senate committee has backed a government proposal to reduce from 2,000 to 1,600 the maximum number of troops that can be deployed to defend NATO's eastern flank over the next 2 years. Pavel Fischer, chairman of the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Defense and Security, told journalists today. According to Fischer, the proposal provides a degree of continuity. However, he considers the reduction in forces and resources allocated to deterring threats and defending NATO's eastern flank a serious message at a time when the threat from Russia is growing. The government did not provide any explanation for the proposed reduction in the maximum number of troops. Czechia has recorded its lowest average rainfall for the period from the 1st of January to the 10th of August since measurements began in 1961, according to the Czech Hydrometeorological Institute. The country is currently facing an average rainfall deficit of around 146 liters of water per square meter compared with the long-term norm. The rainfall deficit follows a dry 2025, which ended as the 6th driest year in Czechia since 1961. Czechia will witness a rare celestial spectacle on Wednesday, the 12th of August, when the moon will cover more than 86% of the sun's disk in some parts of the country. The eclipse will be visible as a total eclipse from Greenland, Iceland and parts of Spain. According to the Czech Astronomical Society, the event will begin in Central Europe at around 7:19 p.m., with the maximum phase in Czechia occurring at around 8:11 p.m. The exact timing will vary slightly depending on location. And now let's look at the weather. The sky is going to be mostly clear with the highest daytime temperatures ranging from 26 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius in the lowlands of Bohemia, occasionally up to 31 degrees Celsius.
Due to drought and heat, Czech farmers are looking for new crops that can better withstand such conditions. Increasingly, they are opting for sunflowers instead of rapeseed. In the eastern parts of the country, there have even been attempts to grow figs or olive trees. Danielle Lazarova has the story.
People driving through central Bohemia can now admire fields of sunflowers in bloom. According to data from the Czech Statistics Office, farmers sowed sunflowers on 33,000 hectares this year, 12,000 more than last year. Jan Bursík is chairman of the board of the Domašín farm.
I have been looking for more alternative crops that can cope with climate change long term, because we are dealing with it more and more every year. I had been thinking about sunflowers for some time, for several years already. Now an opportunity arose in terms of sales as well, so we currently have 45 hectares.
Bursík says sunflowers have coped well with this year's extreme weather.
Ta slunečnice prostě ty suchá zvládala očividně opoznání.
They handled the drought noticeably better than other crops. Ripening is relatively quick. The entire pattern of crop growing is changing. Crops that are normally harvested in October, such as buckwheat, will be harvested almost 2 months earlier.
Tak vypadá to, že budeme sklízet skoro o 2 měsíce dřív.
The Patakovy farm in central Bohemia has also switched to growing sunflowers. Lucia Patáková has been growing the crop for the second year now.
Loni to bylo na zkoušku, bylo to fajn, jako zpestření, zase další plodina.
Last year was a trial year. It was a nice change and another crop to add to our commodities. This year we were already counting on it, and there was demand for it as well. We sold it directly from the farm in bags and sold everything this way. So this year it was clear that we would continue and even expand. Last year we had 3 hectares. This year we planted 8.
Bylo jasný, že budeme pokračovat. Loni jsme měli 3 hektary, ale to jsme dali 8.
Czech farmers are increasingly trying to adapt to extreme summer heat and a lack of rainfall. Barbora Pánková is a spokesperson for the Czech Agrarian Chamber.
Na Jižní Moravě nebo v dalších teplejších oblastech se objevují i pokusy.
In South Moravia and other warmer regions there have even been attempts to grow figs or even olive trees. For now, however, these are individual projects rather than a trend that would fundamentally change the structure of Czech agriculture.
Který by zásadně měnil strukturu českého zemědělství.
According to Pánková, adapting to increasingly severe drought and high temperatures is essential, and farmers are also looking for more resilient varieties of conventional crops. But when an extreme year such as this one arrives, even those measures cannot guarantee good yields.
Letošní rok navíc znovu ukazuje, že samotná změna plodiny nestačí.
This year is once again showing us that simply changing crops is not enough. We entered the summer with a significant lack of moisture, and high temperatures then hit crops during a sensitive stage of development and negatively affected their yields.
Zasáhly plodiny v citlivé fázi vývoje a negativně ovlivnily jejich výnosy.
Farmers are thus relying on technological development that may further increase the resilience of crops to these excesses in the years to come.
Danielle Lazarova with that report. It was built as a secret Soviet command post during the Cold War and hidden from the public for decades. Now, the Jasir bunker in the Karlovy Vary region in northwest Bohemia is open to visitors, thanks to a group of enthusiasts who have spent several years restoring it. Ruth Frankova has the details.
Completed in 1974, Jasir was a highly secret Soviet military facility on the southern edge of the Hradiště military training area in the Doupov Mountains. It served as a reserve wartime command post for the Soviet forces stationed in Czechoslovakia during the Cold War. The bunker had a direct encrypted communication link with KGB headquarters in Moscow, with messages reaching the Soviet capital within 5 minutes. It was also designed to operate independently with its own power, ventilation and water supply. After the fall of communism and the departure of the last Soviet troops from Czechoslovakia in 1991, the bunker came under Czech military control but remained largely unknown. The Czech army eventually stopped using the site. Since 2015, it has been leased by the Jasir Military History Association. Martin Antala, one of its members, says the group initially had no plans to restore the bunker.
When we founded the association in 2015, we had no idea that we would one day be restoring the bunker. We started work on it in 2020, and thanks to the enormous efforts of the association's members, the project gradually took shape. When we saw how interested our friends and acquaintances were, we realized it would be a shame not to share this piece of history with the public.
When work began, the association found tons of rubbish but very little information about the original layout. Since no map of the bunker survived, they had to piece together what the different rooms had been used for. A breakthrough came when they discovered an officer's diary hidden inside the large water tank. They managed to contact him as well as other former soldiers who had served at Yasir. Those former soldiers provided photos and helped identify the purpose of different parts of the bunker. Beyond its history, Yasir is also a unique example of Cold War military engineering. Because the bunker was built in strict secrecy, the Soviets brought in their own materials and handled the construction themselves, as Antala explains.
It was constructed from standardized, prefabricated, reinforced concrete elements and designed to withstand the effects of a medium-sized nuclear explosion. Visitors can see the structure and technical features of the facility and learn how the reserve command post operated during the Cold War.
The Yasir bunker is now open to visitors every weekend during the summer holidays. Outside the main season, the association aims to open it at least once a month. Current opening times and booking information are available online.
Ruth Frankova with that report. An old hospital coal plant might seem an unlikely place for contemporary art. But this summer, the Czech Street Art Festival has transformed a functionalist industrial landmark into a space where street art and psychotherapy collide. Anna Marie Regner with the story.
What does the 19th century French poem have to do with graffiti? This summer, visitors to Olomouc's Street Art Festival, SAFE, can find the answer inside a functionalist coal facility designed in 1946 by Czech architect Bedřich Rosenhal. Once used as a coal plant for the neighboring hospital, the preserved industrial building has been transformed into an ephemeral exhibition space by Soma, a center for contemporary art and psychotherapy. One of the installations part of this year's festival is a new work by Czech painter and graffiti writer Matěj Olmer, who drew inspiration from one French poem.
The inspiration is coming from the poem by Charles Baudelaire, the very famous French poet. The name of the poem is The Carcass. I like it because it's kind of romantic poem, but still very decadent and very dark as well. Well, first I see the space where I'm supposed to paint and feel the composition. The thing is I have to visualize the words, the parts of poem, and I just make it alive in a visual form, actually.
Rather than illustrating the poem directly, Olmer translates it into an abstract visual language rooted in graffiti.
Actually, my graffiti is very specific in a way that I deconstruct letters into the paintings. I use the structure of letters as a scaffolding for my painting.
For Olmer, graffiti and street art is an often misunderstood art form. SAFE is actively combating this by showing it is an art for everybody.
I mean, the general public is persuaded about the fact that graffiti is a simple vandalism without any meaning, and they only respect the complex paintings like the figurative and nature. And they don't understand the value of letters themselves. And the graffiti is mostly about the shape of letters, about the movement, about the energy, about the inner value in the letters and the words itself. I think the most important fact about the street art is that it's being displayed in a public space. So everybody is related to it, because everybody sees it in everyday life.
That idea has guided the Street Art Festival since it was founded in 2007. Every summer, SAFE brings artists from the Czech Republic and abroad to create works in Olomouc and Hradec Králové, often in places where people might not expect to encounter contemporary art. Festival founder and art historian Romana Junkerová says it all began as a small gathering of a community of graffiti artists.
The Street Art Festival began almost 20 years ago as a small community action called Live Graffiti Show, simply brought together graffiti writers from Olomouc and other cities.
Since then, the festival has grown massively while remaining rooted in the local graffiti scene. While Olomouc has the Museum of Modern Art, boasting the third largest contemporary art collection in Czechia, it presents a particular challenge for street art.
Olomouc has several disadvantages for street art. For one, it's a somewhat conservative city. In public space, you'll find an abundance of Baroque monuments and statues. The architecture is mostly Baroque or historicist, And there are UNESCO sites here, which makes most contemporary artistic intervention in public space difficult.
Olomouc, located in the eastern province of Moravia, is home to a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Holy Trinity Column. Olomouc has the second largest urban historic preservation district in the Czech Republic after Prague, which means that any construction work or art installation is strictly regulated. Rather than competing with the city's historic character, the festival aims to become part of it.
In the late of 90s, Olomouc was known for its street art in public spaces. In fact, you can still find it here today. If you look closely at the buildings around you, you might come across colorful balloons or black cats with glowing eyes. I'd say that in Olomouc we're trying to keep this historical thread alive rather than trying to make a name for ourselves.
This year's exhibition is hosted by Soma, a project that combines contemporary art with psychotherapy in collaboration with the University Hospital Olomouc and the Museum of Art Olomouc. Sylvia Hajgíková, art curator at Soma, explains.
Soma is a center for contemporary art and psychotherapists created in collaboration with Hospital Olomouc and Museum of Arts Olomouc. It is a space designed for sharing, interaction, learning and overcoming various forms of trauma through and with forms of contemporary art.
The former coal plant itself reflects the project's philosophy.
This is a former coal facility that was designed in 1946 in functionalistic styles by architect Bedřich Rozehnal. It has been preserved in an intact state, and we aim to keep the space as intact as possible while giving it a new dimension through events.
The center's broader theme, From Birth to Death, can also be read through the building's own history. That process of renewal also involved patients from the neighboring hospital.
Part of the Soma team includes professionals from the hospital. I approached Dr. Grambal to discuss which patients could take part. Together with 8 patients, we dyed fabrics, which later became the canvas for Matěj Olmer.
For a few weeks, a building once designed to fuel hospital boilers now fuels conversations about poetry, graffiti, architecture, and healing. It demonstrates how the controversial art form can transform perspectives on life, architecture, and what we consider art. SAFE has a myriad of projects on offer for the general public and continues to act as a street art cultural preservationist for future years.
That report with Anna Marie Regner. More than 100 students from around the world have gathered in Prague this summer with one goal, to study Czech. They're taking part in the annual Summer School of Slavonic Studies, a program Charles University has been running already for 69 years. Ruth Franková went to talk to some of them and find out what brought them here.
Rozumíte? Vraždy. A myslím, že Louis mluví o nájemné vraždy. Nájemné. Rozumíte? Jo, co? Ne, kidnap to je něco jiného.
Inside the historic Faculty of Arts building in Celetná Street in the heart of Prague's Old Town, a Czech language class is in full swing. Students are getting ready to play Černé historky, the Czech version of the game Black Stories. But before they can solve the mysteries, their teacher first has to teach them all the necessary words like murder, kidnapping or robbery. It is one of several Czech language classes taking place as part of the 4-week Summer School of Slavonic Studies. This year's edition has brought together 104 participants from 30 countries. But as one of the summer school's organizers, Helena Hejlová, explains, learning Czech is only one part of the experience.
During the summer school, the students not only learn the language, but also during the lessons they touch on the Czech culture, Czech history, even Czech politics. But also during the afternoon they can go for trips, they can visit galleries, they have got several workshops. Not only in Czech, because we also have elementary and pre-intermediate students, but also partially in English. During the evenings they can watch Czech films, they can go to watch theatre, or they even perform theatre, they have got international evening and so on. So it's the whole thing, the whole summer school that forms their experience. So not only language, but much more.
The students themselves arrive in Prague for all sorts of reasons. For Tam, who is originally from Vietnam but lives in the United States, it was an interest in Central and Eastern Europe that first sparked her curiosity about Czech.
I was studying Central and Eastern Europe history, and my family members live extensively in the Eastern Bloc, so I thought, let's just learn Czech for fun. So that's why I am at the summer school.
And is this your first time here?
Yeah, it's my first time here.
Having already studied Russian, Tam says Czech grammar, particularly its system of cases and grammatical gender, felt somewhat familiar. The pronunciation, however, has proved much more challenging. That has not discouraged her, though. She is already certain she'll be back next year.
I really enjoy the new friendships that we have their summer school. I think it's just really amazing that we got so much time dedicated to just learning the language during the summer, because I think during the school year we got so many other things to do. So I think it's a nice time to put all your time to just study a language and meet new people, and definitely coming back.
While Tam's interest in Czech grew out of her academic studies, Mark's story is rather different. The Briton has lived in the Czech Republic for more than 20 years and is married to a Czech woman. However, it took him years before he decided to seriously learn the language.
Difficulties, because I'm dyslexic, so it takes a long time. And also I work for an international company, so not really based in Prague. I work out of Prague, so I travel a lot, and the language is normally in English. So for me, this is to build up the language skills bit by bit.
This is already Mark's third summer school. He says what keeps drawing him back is the supportive atmosphere where everyone is learning together and nobody is afraid of making mistakes.
The more you build on it and the more confidence you get to try it, which is another advantage here, that you're trying it with other people at the same level. You're not laughed at. Sometimes I might try something at home and get laughed at, or play a game where you say the wrong word just slightly and it's a laugh because the meaning means something funny. So when you're learning it here where everybody's at the same level, that really helps. Yeah.
Bringing students from around the world to Prague every summer wouldn't be possible without considerable support. Many participants attend thanks to scholarships provided by the Czech Ministry of Education. Helena Hejlová explains how the program works.
We have got 79 students this year who applied and received the scholarship, and the process starts in spring. And what they actually have to do, they have to apply via a website, and there is also cooperation between the Ministry of Education and the embassies, because it's actually the embassies who choose their nominees.
The reasons for learning Czech can be surprisingly varied. For some from New Delhi, it all began with the music of Czech composer Antonín Dvořák.
I started learning Czech because I was very interested in the culture. Originally, I played the violin a lot, and I heard Dvořák once from the New World, and I really enjoyed how he used the strings, the string instruments. So that got me interested in the language actually. So from there, first, I started with Russian. I learned it for 3 years, and then after that, I started learning Czech. But I'm also a finance major, so technically I'm a market analyst. So learning languages is sort of a hobby for me.
As his interest in Czech culture grew, so did his fascination with the country's history.
The history I find is very interesting of Czech Republic, specifically the modern history of the Velvet Revolution. I actually find a lot of similarities between what India faced and what Czech Republic faced. A lot of statements, for example, like Václav Havel, Láska, Pravda, Musí, Zvítězit nad lži a nenávistí. I think that something very similar was said by Mahatma Gandhi in India as well. I relate with the culture a lot.
Sam says history is not the only thing he has taken away from his time in Prague. Equally as important are the new friendships he made.
I think it's like every time the students from the summer school go out for drinks or for food, it's like the start of a classic joke. For example, it just goes like a Polish guy, a Vietnamese, a British, and an Indian walk into a bar. That's every time it's there. So I really enjoyed it quite a lot here.
For many participants, it's those friendships and shared experiences that become just as important as the language itself. According to Helena Hejlová, that's also what keeps students coming back year after year.
I would like to say it's the spell of the summer school, because once you try it, you actually want to come back. You want to experience it for the second time or third time or fifth time. Because as I said, it's not only the language, it's also the culture, it's also the magic of Prague, but it's also the magic of people, like international students from 30 countries, also very welcoming and very experienced teachers. Even our teachers team, we have got the same people, so they actually meet their teachers again and again, and they want to spend time with them and with us.
For Miles from California, the Summer School of Slavonic Studies offered something more than a chance to improve his Czech. It was an opportunity to reconnect with his family roots. His mother was born in Prague and emigrated to the United States in 1968, but Czech was never spoken at home.
My mother was born here in Prague. She is half Czech, half Slovak. She left the Czech Republic in 1968 and had to immigrate over to the US. And there's a lot of heritage and cultural things, so I'm trying to connect back with my family. My grandmother died when I was young, so I didn't quite get to speak Czech. And this is my opportunity to learn and speak Czech and just get the cultural experience of being in Prague for a month.
Like many of his classmates, Miles says Czech grammar has proved to be the biggest challenge.
English is not very easy, but there's one word to describe something, and in Czech there's 6 or 7 and different conjugations of those words. So the memorization of everything was a little challenging, but as long as you write it down and practice, it's not too hard.
He has, however, already found a favorite Czech word.
Smrzlina, ice cream. It's hard to hate ice cream, and so smrzlina it's a fun word. It's also challenging to say. So anytime you see an ice cream shop, oh, smrzlina. So it's a fun word and it's a tasty treat. So
what started for Miles as a chance to reconnect with his Czech roots has ended with a life-changing decision.
I am trying to speak Czech with my mom, and now I have decided to make the move since she was born here. I have Czech citizenship, so I bought a one-way ticket and have decided to move here to Prague. So I will force myself to learn the language.
So after ending these summer studies, you are not going back to the US?
That is correct. Only one way from Oakland to Prague, no tickets home. So I will have to figure it out and learn on the go.
Thank you, Ruth Frankova, for that report. That report from Ruth Frankova has brought us to the end of today's program here on Radio Prague International. For more news, features, interviews, photos, and videos from Czechia, visit our website at www.radio.cz. You can also browse our full archive of broadcasts and follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. From me, Sierra Krieger-Wolf, thank you for listening and have a beautiful rest of your day.